I never thought betrayal would come with bruises. When I found out my wife, Melissa, was cheating, I expected tears, shouting, maybe even a broken glass or two. But not blood. Not mine. The night it all went down still plays in my mind like a movie I can't stop watching. Frame by frame, every scene burned into memory. Started 3 months earlier. Melissa had grown distant. The small things that once connected us. Morning coffee together, her quick texts during lunch, the way she'd kiss my shoulder before getting out of bed vanished. In their place came silence. Late nights at the office, locked phones, and a sudden obsession with working out. At first, I blamed myself. I told myself I was getting older, not paying enough attention. I even started hitting the gym again, hoping she'd notice. But no matter what I did, her eyes looked past me. One Friday night, she claimed she was going to a team dinner. I offered to drop her off. She refused. Something in her tone felt rehearsed. My gut twisted. I waited 30 minutes after she left, grabbed my keys, and followed her car's GPS. I'd installed a location tracker months ago, more out of habit than suspicion. That night, it became my proof. She wasn't at a restaurant. She was parked outside a small apartment complex on the east side of town. I sat there for 20 minutes, my heart pounding hard enough to shake the steering wheel. Finally, she got out. Smiling, dressed in that red dress she'd said was too formal for work. A man met her halfway up the path, and they kissed before going inside. My body went cold. It's strange how calm you can feel in moments like that. I didn't scream. I didn't call her. I just drove home, turned off my phone, and sat in the dark for hours. The next morning, she came home cheerful, humming like she'd spent the night at a spa. She kissed me on the cheek. I almost laughed at how well she played her part. For the next week, I acted normal. I wanted to be sure. I checked her messages when she showered, looked through bank statements, pieced together her lies. His name was Derek Mason, a personal trainer she met at her gym. He was younger, 30, maybe 31, and built like the kind of guy who thought tattoos were a personality. When I finally confronted her, she didn't deny it. She looked right at me and said, "I didn't mean for it to happen." That line. Like her affair was an accident. Like love just tripped and fell into his arms. I told her to pack her things. She didn't argue. Just cold silence. No tears. No apologies. Nothing left worth saving. 2 nights later, I was at home, sitting in the living room, when I heard a car screech to a stop outside. The knock on the door was violent, 3 hits, fast, angry. When I opened it, Derek stood there, eyes bloodshot, fists clenched. "You ruined her life," he shouted. Before I could respond, he lunged. The next few seconds were chaos. He swung wildly, hitting me across the jaw. I stumbled back, crashing into the coffee table. I could taste blood. He kept coming, fueled by something deeper than rage. Maybe guilt, maybe stupidity. I don't even remember picking up the lamp, but I remember the sound when it hit him. A sickening crack. He fell, clutching his face, cursing, threatening to finish what he started. I dialed 911 with trembling hands. When the cops arrived, I was bleeding from my lip, shaking, while Derek was shouting about how I attacked first. But the truth was in the evidence. Security cameras, bruises, the officer's body cam footage. It wasn't hard to see who the aggressor was. That night, as they dragged him out in handcuffs, Melissa called. She didn't ask if I was okay. She asked if I'd set him up. That was the moment I realized something. She hadn't just betrayed me emotionally. She'd chosen his side completely. The next few weeks were a blur of police statements, bruises fading into yellow patches, and silence that filled the house like fog. Derek was charged with assault and trespassing. The officer told me he'd tried to spin a story, that I'd provoked him, that I'd lured him there. But the camera on my front porch told a different story. It caught him storming up the steps, shouting before the door even opened. That video became my insurance policy. Melissa moved out 2 days later. No goodbye, no explanation. Just a few empty hangers in the closet and the faint smell of her perfume on the pillow. I should have felt grief, but what I felt was relief. A strange, quiet kind of peace that comes when you stop pretending something can be fixed. Her lawyer called a week later, asking if I'd be open to a civil discussion about the assault charges. Apparently, she thought she could convince me to drop them. I said one thing: he attacked me in my home. You can discuss it with the prosecutor. A month passed. Derek was denied bail after violating a restraining order. He tried to text me from a new number, calling me a coward hiding behind the law. The irony almost made me laugh. The same man who thought violence proved love was now sitting in a cell, whining about consequences. Then came the twist I didn't expect. Melissa showed up at my office. I hadn't seen her since that night. She looked tired, eyes sunken, voice low. "I didn't know he'd do that," she said softly, like an apology wrapped in half-truths. "He was just angry." I wanted to believe her, but I remembered the phone call right after the fight, the way she'd accused me of setting him up instead of asking if I was alive. I told her, calmly, that whatever love once existed between us had been buried the moment she brought that man into our lives. She tried to cry. It looked practiced, almost mechanical. When I didn't react, she switched tactics. "You could still drop the charges," she whispered. "He's not a bad person." That line broke whatever sympathy was left in me. I said, "He's not a bad person? He broke into my house and tried to beat me. If I hadn't defended myself, I might be the one in a hospital or worse." Her silence was the first honest thing she'd given me in months. She left without another word. By the time the trial came, I barely recognized Derek. The confident trainer with the smug grin was gone, replaced by a man in an orange jumpsuit, wrists chained, eyes hollow. The prosecutor laid out everything: the affair, the messages, the video, the injuries. His lawyer tried to argue temporary insanity fueled by passion. The jury didn't buy it. The verdict: guilty of aggravated assault. 3 years in prison. When the judge read the sentence, Derek glared at me like I'd stolen something from him. But all I'd taken was his illusion that he could control what he broke. Melissa didn't show up that day. Later, I learned she'd moved to another state, new job, new apartment, new life. I guess that's what people like her do. They shed guilt like old skin and start over. As for me, I kept the house. Not because of memories, but because I refused to let them take one more thing from me. I replaced the broken furniture, repainted the walls, and even planted a small garden out back. It wasn't about revenge anymore, it was about reclaiming peace. Some nights, I still wake up thinking about that red dress, about the way she looked at him, about the sound of his fist connecting with my jaw. But then I remember the sound of the gavel in court, the final, solid thud that closed the chapter. I've learned that justice doesn't always come wrapped in apologies or closure. Sometimes it comes in the quiet knowledge that the people who tried to destroy you ended up destroying themselves. Last week, I got a letter from Derek, handwritten. I almost didn't open it, but curiosity won. It said, "I'm sorry. I lost everything. She doesn't visit. Maybe you were right about her." For the first time, I didn't feel anger. I just felt pity. I burned the letter, watched the paper curl and blacken, and realized something simple. Revenge may satisfy the crowd, but peace, that's what truly punishes the guilty.